PFL 2022, week 3 of the regular season. We got 11 fights on the card, a lot of female lightweight fights, which you might think is a little bit crazy because there's really not that many featherweight women's fighters out there, but the PFL has their own lightweight division, which I still think is absolutely insane. You got Kayla Harrison, Martina Magdonald, you got Genah, Fabian, Julia Budd, the former Bellator champion in the featherweight division, Larissa, Pacheco, Zamzagul, Fayzallanova, Olena, Kolesnyk, and Montes, and Martina, Jindrova, and Vanessa, Melo. Those are all the female fights, and then we got a lot of male fights in the welterweight division. Gleison, TIbau, Jarrah, Silawi, Nikolay, Aleksakhin, Sadibou, Magomedkerimov, former PFL champion, taking on Joao, Zeferino, Rory, Macdonald, Brett Cooper, Myles, Price, Anthony Pettis, and the reigning, defending PFL champion, Ray Cooper III, taking on the newcomer, Carlos Leal right there. So it's going to be a solid card. There's a few fights on here, you look at them, you're like, yeah, I kind of already know what's going to happen in that fight, but there's a few, that may look like easy predictions, but they could honestly surprise you, in that the underdog could definitely go out there and get the finish. We saw Ray Cooper go out there as the underdog in the finals against Magomed, go out there and knock him out. So PFL is very, very unlikely that you're going to get a card with all favorites winning. You're going to get some underdogs to win. So we're going to try to predict these fights right here in the PFL women's lightweight division and in the welterweight division. It should be a really solid card. We're going to go on to the first one here in the women's lightweight division. Vanessa, Melo, and Martina, Jindrova in the the lightweight division. Now, Vanessa Melo, I don't know how she's in the lightweight division, to be honest with you. She's 34 years old. Her last fight, look right there, is in the bantamweight division, where she weighed in at 136 pounds to fight Sarah Moras. Sarah Moras is a 6-7 MMA fighter, and Vanessa Melo was the underdog in that fight. She did lose to solid opponents, I'm going to be honest. Those are very legit girls. Irene Aldana ranks UFC bantamweight, Cara Rosa ranks UFC bantamweight, and then Tracy Cortez, a very, very solid wrestler in that UFC bantamweight division, but she hasn't really beaten too many people of note. Maybe Molly McCann and then Mariana Moraes, that's about it, but that was way back in 2015 and in 2019. As of right now, she's not really doing too good. Her only win is against a losing record opponent, but it's not like Martina Jindrova is any good either. She's got 4 wins and 2 losses, beating Jacqueline Cavalcante by a split decision. That is not impressive. Jacqueline isn't really that good. She'd be a 0-1 opponent and another 0-1 opponent. Then she lost that fight. She got a split decision against her. Now, the way you're going to beat a girl like Vanessa Melo is just to kind of pressure her on the feet, or just dominate her on the ground. I don't think Martina Jindrova is going to have either of those things to go out there and control Vanessa Melo on the ground, and she doesn't really have that pressure and power to go out there, push forward on Vanessa Melo, land the harder shots, the more volume and things like that, and win the fight in the striking. So as much as it pains me to pick Vanessa Melo in any MMA fight, I'm going to have to go Vanessa Melo here. I think she goes out there, makes it a pretty boring decision here, 29-28, keeps the fight pretty even on the feet, just landing a little bit more volume, having the better wrestling and grappling as well, and just slightly edged out of the decision. It's a weird fight. It is women's lightweight action here. Very, very low-level opponents, so it's a weird fight. I'm going to go Vanessa Melo by a decision. Olena, Kolesnyk, and Montes in the lightweight division. Now, sort of low level in that Montes, she's in the beginning of her PFL career, only wins coming over some pretty bad opponents over there in Icon and Combate Americas, and then she beat Clarissa Shields, which was a surprise for a lot of people that were predicting that fight, but it wasn't like we were too shocked because Clarissa really is not an MMA fighter. She's just a boxer, but so is Olena Kolesnyk. You can see on her Tapology, she's a boxer. She's literally wearing boxing gloves there, and every single fight fight. She's looking to keep the fight on the feet and outstrike her opponent. If she gets pressured on the feet, she's going to lose. If she gets taken down, she's going to lose. She got submitted by armbar, rear naked, dominated by Taylor Gordardo. Then she got knocked out right there. I think this is the perfect match for a girl like Abby Montes. She's going to go out there, put the pressure on the feet, show a little bit of her boxing, a little bit of her volume, her pressure, and then she's going to take the fight down. She's a much better wrestler, much better grappler. She's got the ground and pound as well. I mean, she got that TKO win on Larissa, then Jesus Lopez, and then Clarissa Shields. I don't know why it was a split decision. She won that fight, but yeah, she should go out there and pretty easily beat Olena Kolesnyk and just control her on the ground for 3 rounds. I'm not going to go a finish. I don't really kind of see Abby Montes as a finisher just yet in her PFL lightweight career, but I'm going to go a decision for Abby Montes. Gleison TIbau and Jarrah Silawi in the welterweight division. I might have mispronounced the name, but it doesn't matter because this dude is an absolute beast. He's very tall, very lengthy for the division. He's a lot bigger than Gleison TIbau in height, in reach, and he's just the bigger guy as well. And he's going to be a lot younger. 29, almost 30 years old in the prime of his MMA career. Gleison TIbau, you know, he's sort of in his prime, if you can say that, because he's beating a lot of really solid opponents that he was not beating in the prime of his MMA career. Because as in the prime of Gleison TIbau's MMA career, that's around the time where he was fighting guys like Tony Ferguson when he was 31 years old, and he was on a 4-fight losing streak right there. So very legit guys, Islam, Tony Ferguson, Abel Chirijo, and all those guys. But now it really seems like he's getting a resurrection here in 2021 after that layoff from the Will Brooks fight, went into the PFL, lost to Joao Zeferino by a unanimous decision, and then he beat Michael Terrell and Rory Macdonald. I don't really know how that happened. The Rory fight, we could talk about it. I don't think he won that fight. But yeah, he's fighting a super legit guy here. Jarrah Silawi. I mean, this dude is a crazy good prospect. He's a really, really good striker, knocking out the likes of Michael Lilly right there. Ismail Nardiev. Now, that's one we really have to look at. That is a really solid win, and it's a 21-5 fighter right here who's only lost to Sean Brady, a top 15, probably even top 10, if I'm remembering correctly, UFC welterweight fighter Chancellor Country, former UFC fighter Ismael De Jesus, not too sure who that is, and then Kim Kaya. But recently, you look at that list, 2 UFC fighters, one of them is ranked, and those 2 guys won by a decision. Jarrah went out there and he knocked him out in the second round with leg kicks. That is very, very impressive. That's not the only win that I feel is very impressive. Another one, Abdul Abdurguimov. Now, he lost the first one by split decision. Then he came back and knocked him out right there. Abdul, this dude could be in the UFC. This guy could be in the UFC in the next 3-4 years. He's only 26 years old, and Jarrah goes out there and he knocks him out in the fourth round right there. Carlson Harris, 3 minutes and 51 seconds right there. That is very, very interesting because if you look right here, 3 minutes, 51 seconds, and then Shavkat Rakhmonov took him 4 minutes and 10 seconds. So I'm not trying to say that Jarrah Al-Silawi is better than a Shavkat Rakhmonov, but he finished Carlson Harris faster than that. He's beaten so many other really good guys. The undefeated Abdul Abdurguimov, who's going to be in the UFC someday. Ismail Nardiev, former UFC fighter. You got Carlson Harris on there, only losing to Shavkat Rakhmonov, and of course Jarrah Al-Silawi. You got Daniel Skatizi right there, a Bellator fighter. Rami Hamed, LFA fighter. Mohammed Fakhreddin, who's in the UFC right now. He beat him before that. I mean, dude, this dude is absolutely insane. He hasn't lost in such a long time since that Abdul Abdurguimov fight. He's gotten so much better since then. His striking is looking so crisp. He's got really good kicking game, really good leg kicks, really good knees down the middle, really good boxing. Gleison TIbau, I can't say that you're going to win this fight, man. I'm going to go Jarrah Al-Silawi in... Let's go this second round. So Gleison will survive the first round, maybe landing a few takedowns. Just when he gets rocked, he's just going for the takedown. But eventually, Jarrah Al-Silawi will land on that chin of Gleison TIbau, and he's going to knock him out. Jarrah by knockout in the second round. Larissa Pacheco and Zamzagul Fayzallanova in the lightweight division. Now, This is one of those fights where a lot of people, they just see this fight and they see Zamzagul, some random girl on the regional scene over in Russia and in Kazakhstan and things like that. She's 29 years old. They're like, I really don't know who she is. And she's coming up from the featherweight division to the lightweight division. Probably just going to go Larissa Pacheco. I'm still going to go Larissa Pacheco, but I think it's a little bit ridiculous how many people are so confident on Larissa Pacheco winning this fight. Now, the odds right now have her as a 7-1 favorite, a 6-1 favorite, a 5-1 favorite, whatever the case may be. But it's not like Larissa Pacheco is a world beater. She doesn't go out there and absolutely dominate all of her opponents, but she does do very good at taking the fight down and submitting them or ground and pound TKO in them, like she did with Bobby Joe Danziel and then Julian Pacheco. They're both absolute garbage in my opinion, but still. Now, her only losses recently are coming to Kayla Harrison twice. She did beat Carol Rosa as well. Then she lost to Jessica Andrade and Jermaine the reigning champion. And then guess what? Champion. And she beat Irene Aldana as well right there. But the reason I'm going to say it's not necessarily like a lock or anything like that, I'm not going to be like super confident on Larissa Pacheco, is because her only 2 losses recently are coming to Kayla Harrison. Yes, it was 2 years ago, like 3 years ago, but still, she's a judo practitioner. Likes to use those throws to take the fight down and get the fight to the ground. Control the fight there, ground and pound, get the decision win, the TKO win, the armbar, whatever the case may be. Zamzagul is also a judo practitioner. She likes to take the fight down, she likes to ground and pound, and she likes to look for that armbar. So I'm still going to go Larissa to win. I think overall she is the better striker. She has got a more experience under her belt. She is very good in the grappling and wrestling as well. So I am overall going to go for Larissa Pacheco by a decision here. But it's not a lock. Zamzagul, if she can find one moment to take the fight down, get the back of Larissa Pacheco, she can latch in a rear naked. She can ground and pound for that TKO win. So it's an interesting fight. I am going to go Larissa Pacheco, but it's not a super confident pick. I'm going to go Larissa by a 29-28 unanimous decision. Sadibou C and Nikolay Aleksakhin in the welterweight division. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a rematch here. And the first time, Nikolay Aleksakhin was a pretty big favorite. If you look at the first fight there, started at -400, ended at -235. He fought Ray Cooper III after that, which was crazy, but then now he's fighting Sadibou C again. Now, the reason they're doing the rematch is because the first fight sadly was a no contest due to an eye poke. I mean, there's a lot of weird no contests for Sadibou C in that year right there. Losing a fight to Ray Cooper III as well, and then that fight got to a no contest as well. But I'm really not too sure about this fight, because yes, Sadibou C was doing very good in the fight, keeping the fight on the feet at range, using the height, using the reach, and winning the fight by a decision. But I know that fight with Sadibou C and Nikolay Aleksakhin, it was about a year ago. Nikolay has had a lot of time to prepare for this type of opponent like Sadibou C, and prepare to close that height, close that reach advantage, even land the takedowns and use the wrestling and grappling advantage that he's probably going to have. Now, the reason I say I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 50-50 fight. It's because Nikolay kind of lost that last fight. The last fight, if it went to a decision, Nikolay would have lost that fight. But I don't know. We don't know how much Nikolay has improved, because after that, he lost to Ray Cooper III and has not fought since. It's been 10 months of time that he could have been training strictly wrestling and grappling. He could go out there with a straight-up Magomed and Magomedkerimov grappling game plan and just try to take down Sadibou C, but I'm going to lean Sadibou C to win. It's not a confident pick by any means, just because it's been a while since Nikolay has fought. He could go out there with much better range management for that height and reach that Sadibou C will possess, and he could go out there with really good wrestling and grappling. I don't know. That's why I'm going to go Sadibou, but I'm very reluctant to be like, oh yeah, for sure Sadibou C. So it's a weird fight. I'm going to go Sadibou C by a decision. Genah, Fabian, and Julia Bud in the lightweight division. Genah, pretty average everywhere. Striking average, wrestling average, grappling average. Not really super good in any facet of the game. She's coming off a loss to Kayla Harrison in the last fight. Before that, TKO Julian Pacheco, who is pretty garbage in my opinion. Then she beat Laura Sanchez before that. That was a pretty solid win. Before that, beat Mori Charnowski, however you say that name. And then lost to Bobby Joe Daniels way back in 2019. But she's an okay opponent. I mean, yes, her only losses recently was to Kayla Harrison by ground upon TKO. But Julia Budd is legit as well. I mean, there's a few girls outside of the UFC that are legit. Kayla Harrison, Julia Budd, and then Chris Cyber. There's a few others, maybe like a Juliana Velasquez, Liz Carmouche, things like that. But talking the higher weight classes, Julia Budd is one of those elite fighters in that she's pretty much better than everyone else other than the champions. I mean, Chris Cyborg, she's better than everyone else but Chris Cyborg. She's better than everyone else than Amanda Nunes, Ronda Rousey. She did beat Jermaine the Randomie. She did beat girls like Arlene Blanco, Olga Rubin, Talita Nogueira, both undefeated at the time they fought, and then Diana Silva as well. So when she fights lower-ranked opponents like a Genah Fabian, she tends to go out there and get a decision win. She hasn't been getting finishes recently. She's more getting those decisions. Genah, I think she'll be tough enough to fight off those finishes. But Julia, she's the better striker. She's the better kickboxer. She's better in the clinch. Grappling, you know, I'm still going to go Julia Budd there as well. I think overall, everywhere the fight goes, Julia Budd is just the better fighter. Unanimous decision win for Julia Budd there in the women's lightweight division. Magomedkerimov and Joao Zeferino in the welterweight division. Now, Joao, 26 wins, 9 losses. This is a very unpredictable guy. Last year, I don't know how he didn't make the finals or make the playoffs or anything, but he beat Gleison TIbau by a unanimous decision. He beat Jason Ponnet by an easy submission right there. I still have no idea why Jason Ponnet was even in the PFL last year, but he was on a crazy 5-fight win streak, only losing split decisions, John Fish and then Brian Foster right there, beating so many other guys as well. He was actually supposed to fight Magomedkerimov on the PFL 2021 playoffs right there in the co-main event, but instead we got Sadibou. I still would have gone Magomedkerimov to win that fight with Joao Zeferino. I mean, it would have been very obvious how Magomed would have won that fight. Yes, Joao Zeferino is a good grappler, he's a good wrestler, not as good as freaking Magomedkerimov, and the striking too. Even if Joao somehow goes out there with a grappling and wrestling advantage, it does not matter. Magomed is going to keep the fight on the feet. He's got the height advantage by like 3 or 4 inches. He's got the reach advantage by 4 inches. He's the better striker. There's more power. There's more volume. He's got the better kicking game. And the grappling, again, Magomed is still better there as well. So it seems like an easy prediction to me unless somehow Joao just starts throwing bombs and catches them like Ray Cooper III. But he does not have that type of power. So I'm going to go Magomed to win the fight by a unanimous decision. Rory Macdonald and Brett Cooper in the welterweight division. Now, this is an interesting fight because Rory Macdonald is a 4-1 favorite right there, coming off a loss. I do believe his last fight was Ray Cooper III by a unanimous decision. Before that, was it a loss? I don't think so. Gleison TIbau by split decision. Before that, beat Curtis Melender, Diamond Gracie, and then lost to Douglas Lima. So he's losing to very legit guys. Douglas Lima, I don't think he lost that fight. And then Ray Cooper III. So champion in Bellator and then a champion in the PFL. Brett Cooper is not that guy, I'm going to be honest with you. He's way less in terms of reach. I'm talking like 6.5, 7 inches in reach are going to be in the advantage for Rory Macdonald. And the guys that Brett Cooper are beating are very low level. I mean, 20 and 11 right there. 10 and 6 right there. 10 and 2 is not really that bad. Sharab Davla, I'm not going to say that name. A lot of these guys are legit. They all have very good veteran type of records, but he has not fought a guy with the experience level of a Rory Macdonald. Rory is going to go out there with the wrestling advantage, with the grappling advantage, and that does seem like the main weakness of Brett Cooper in a lot of his fights. He gets taken down and he does get submitted, or he gets pressured on the feet and then he gets knocked out. But for this fight, I'm going to go decision. Brett Cooper is one of those guys where, yes, he does get finished in a lot of his fights. I mean, Mohamed Burkamov knocked him out. Salamu Abdurrahman. I'm not going to say these names, but he's getting finished in a lot of these fights. Rory he's not really that finisher anymore. He's got one finish in the last, in the last 4 years. So he's not really that finishing type of guy anymore. I think he's going to go out there, kind of point strike him on the feet, mix in the takedowns, mix in the clinch, the grappling, the wrestling, and things like that. Just control the fight to a decision. He's not going to dominate the fight. It's not going to be like a 30-26 or anything, because Brett Cooper is a definite guy. He's a definite dog. He can go out there and just make it an ugly fight. They some big shots on the feet, but he doesn't have the wrestling and grappling for Rory MacDonald. Rory should be able to go out there and control the fight on the ground. And even on the feet, he is going to have the kicking advantage. He's got the front kicks, the body kicks, the jab, the 1-2. I mean, that jab and 1-2 is going to be money in this fight with that reach advantage. So I'm not going to go finish. I think the fight does go all the way. I got Rory MacDonald by a unanimous decision. Anthony Pettis and Myles Price in the lightweight division. I'm going to say it right now before anyone does. Set up. That's it. That's all you really gotta know with this fight. Set up fight for Anthony Showtime Pettis. Now, Myles Price, 33, almost 34 years old. He's a little bit taller, a little bit lengthier than Anthony Pettis. But you look at Anthony Pettis. He beat Alex Morono just a year and a half ago. He beat Donald Cerrone just 2 years ago. He did lose to Diego Ferreira, a ranked UFC lightweight fighter. Clay Collard, who just went out there in the main event inside of the PFL and just destroyed Jeremy Stephens on the feet. He did get hit a couple of times in the fight as well. And then Haush Manfio in a very controversial fight. Myles Price is no Diego Ferreira. Myles Price is no Clay Collard. Myles Price isn't even a Haush Manfio. I'm going to be quite honest with you. Pettis is better everywhere in the fight. Maybe there's a chance for Myles Price to go out there and latch onto something, knock him out, just start throwing bombs and knock out Anthony Pettis. But I don't really remember the last time that Anthony Pettis has been knocked out. It has been a very long time since he's been knocked out. If you want to try to talk about the Tony Ferguson corner stoppage, you can if you want to, but the technical last time that he got knocked out was the Max Holloway fight, and I believe that is his only knockout loss in history. Myles Price's only way of winning is going to be a knockout. Anthony has more volume, he's got more power, he's got more pressure, he's got more flashy stuff. I mean, he has so much more tools in the toolkit to go out there and throw those flashy shots and really make a mark on those judges' scorecards. And Myles Price, he could get finished here, but again, he's another one of those guys that does not really get finished too much in his fights, and Pettis hasn't really been getting too many finishes recently. I mean, in his last 5 fights, every single one of them went to a decision except for the Diego Ferreira fight. I think this one goes to a decision. I think Pettis just keeps the fight on the feet at range and just lands the harder shots. He lands more shots, and he puts on the pressure, comes forward on Myles Price for 3 rounds, and wins the fight by a unanimous decision. Ray Cooper III and Carlos Leal in the welterweight division. Now, we got a United States Ray Cooper III, and then we got a Brazilian Ray Cooper III. I'm going to be honest with you. They're both pretty decent on the ground. They both have very solid wrestling and very solid grappling. The height and reach does go Carlos Leal right there, and he's very explosive as well. He's got some good power in his hands. 16 wins and 3 losses, coming off that knockout win over Corey Cobb on the PFL Challenger Series, knocking him out in 56 seconds. Another first-round knockout win right there against Diego Diaz, and then a lot of other knockout wins. But in this fight against a guy like Ray Cooper III, you need to finish him. That's really the only way you're going to beat Ray Cooper III, is to go out there and finish him. Magomed's only way to win that fight was after he got taken down, to land that guillotine choke submission. John Howard, just to start throwing bombs and hope one of those lands to actually knock him out. That's the only way you're really going to beat a Ray Cooper III. But it's not going to happen. He's coming in on short notice. Ray Cooper was originally supposed to fight. Who was? I'm trying to remember the name of Ray Cooper's original opponent. It's not letting me go back on here, but let's see, it was Magomed Umalato. That would have been a much closer fight. But again, Carlos is coming in on short notice. He's going to go out there looking for the finish. And if he doesn't get it, he's going to gas out. I'm calling second round knockout after Carlos, starts expending the energy, trying to finish Ray Cooper III in the first round. He's going to be a little bit gassed. Ray Cooper is going to put on that pressure. He's going to throw his bombs of his own, and he's going to land right on that chin of Carlos Leal. And he's going to knock him out in the first or second round. round. I'm going to go the second round right there. Kayla Harrison and Martina Magomedkerimov in the lightweight division. Very hard to say that last name. But again, if you're watching this video right now, look yourself in the mirror and be like, what am I doing watching a Kayla Harrison prediction against someone that is not named, I don't know, Juliana Pena, Amanda Nunes, Julia Budd, I mean, any of those girls, Chris Cyborg, any prediction other than one of those people against Kayla Harrison, there is no need to be looking up a prediction with Kayla Harrison in it. It is quite obvious who is going to win this fight. Kayla is surprisingly younger than Martina Magomedkerimov right there. She is taller. She's got the same reach right there. She's got the better judo, obviously. She's got the better grappling, wrestling, ground and pound, all of that type of stuff. And if you look at who Martina is losing to, come on. Liana Jojua. An 8-5 fighter that lost to Sarah Moras right there. I'm serious. She lost to Sarah Moras by third round. She got TKO'd by one of the worst UFC women's MMA fighters of all time. Then she lost to Genah Harding. She did get a lot of finishes before that, a lot of submissions before that. But after that, decision win over Amanda Bell, 7-8 opponent, and then Claudia Zamora, a 3-2 opponent. I don't know, man. Kayla Harrison by domination. Again, if you're looking up a prediction for Kayla Harrison versus Martina Magomedkerimov, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? I'm gonna say it one more time. What are you doing? Looking up a Kayla Harrison prediction. She's already moving. They're still putting money on her at 3,500 right there. It is so obvious that Kayla Harrison is gonna win this fight that people are putting money on her at 35-1 odds. What do you want me to say? Kayla Harrison by finish in the first or second rounds. All right, that is my full card prediction for PFL Week 3 of the 2022 regular season. I got Kayla Harrison winning. I got Ray Cooper III winning. Anthony Pettis winning. Rory Macdonald winning. Magomedkerimov winning. Julia Budd winning. Sadibou C winning. Larissa Pacheco winning. Jarrah Silawi winning. Abigail Montes winning. And Vanessa Melo winning. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Let's go.